In this episode, let's have a look at the 4 different boom mics we listened to last week in our blind comparison and talk about each one a little bit. Just as a recap from last week, we recorded 4 different boom mics you might use for indoor dialogue with a script, so they all recorded the same thing, and let you listen to them. I didn't tell you which ones they were, let you vote on which one you thought sounded best. And now let's look at the votes and kind of tally things up and see what the mics are and the kind of the strengths and weaknesses of each one a little bit. Each of the mics was recorded into a Tascam DR60D into the XLR input, and all of them need power of some sort, whether that be XLR power supplied by the recorder itself, or in one case, it also had a battery option within the mic itself. So you could battery power it from the mic, or you could use phantom power. Phantom power is 48 volts in this case, so you need some sort of field recorder or audio interface or preamplifier that can provide that power. Coming in fourth place with 12% of the votes was microphone A, which is the Rode NT5. This is a small diaphragm condenser mic. Don't sell this option out. It is the least expensive of the mics here. It was $219 US at the present, and is a little brighter than the others in most of my experience, but it could work really great with people that have darker voices with lots of bass and not much high frequency output. I've used it to nice effect on 2 projects now with a couple different talent, and I've only had it for a month, but I've really found that it works well for certain types of voices. So it does have a cardioid pickup pattern, which obviously is very different from a shotgun mic, so it does work pretty nicely indoors for dialogue, as long as you keep it up about 18 inches, maybe 24 inches, probably no more than that from your talent. So pretty nice option. It does require 48 volt phantom power and does not have a battery option. All right, in third place with 20% of the vote was microphone C, which is the Rode NTG2. Now, this is a shotgun mic, and would you really use that indoors for dialogue? Well, most of us that can only afford one mic, and we happen to have that mic because we thought it was a good idea when we first got it. It can work, but it's not perfect. Here's why. A shotgun mic is not really designed for indoor use. The way that a shotgun mic works, it has this interference tube design. So what happens is there's an assumption made in this design, and that assumption is that the noise off to the side of the mic is going to be significantly different in terms of its frequencies than the actual voice or dialogue you're trying to capture. And that works fine when you're outside, when you don't have a lot of echo. But as soon as you get into an echoey spot, like a small room indoors, you will get, or even a larger room indoors, you will get echo back from the wall, which is very similar to the voice you're trying to record, because of course it's a voice that's going out and reflecting back and coming into the side. And for that reason, when it comes into the interference tube, and it is very similar to the sound you're trying to capture, it starts to cancel out some of the original dialogue or the original sound you're trying to capture. So it doesn't work very well in really echoey rooms for that reason. However, I have found that you can use it indoors if you treat the room or if you're working in a room that's not particularly echoey. So that takes care of the problem. Now, by a treated room, I mean hanging blankets all over the place to really sort of absorb some of that high frequency echo. The NTG2, in my opinion, is a great option for outdoor dialogue. I love that it has a slot for a AA battery, so you don't have to use the phantom power from your recorder for this. And that can actually save the battery of your recorder. So really a pretty good option. Coming in second place with 24% of the vote was microphone B, which was the Audio Technica 4053B. Now, this is the most expensive of the mics by a significant margin, about $600 US, has a hypercardioid pickup pattern, which most audio engineers say is probably the best choice for rooms with lots of echo, so indoor dialogue. I find it works really well on darker voices, and it seems to produce the cleanest signal in terms of self-noise. So really great option from that standpoint. I use this on a number of projects. I actually use it on a regular project. My daughter has a little YouTube crafting channel. We use it on her voice. It works great for her voice. I've actually found other people whose voices it works great for as well. It doesn't seem to reject any more echo and reflection in small rooms than the cardioid mics I've used here, but maybe I'm doing something wrong, I don't know. So if you're an experienced audio engineer and you know the answer to that, please let us know. And then finally, this one also requires 48 volt phantom power and does not have a battery option. And finally, the number one choice in terms of popular vote in this little exercise here was microphone D. This is the Rode NT5. Surprise! Same mic as the fourth place mic, but there's a little twist here. The Rode NT5 has a interchangeable capsule design. That is to say, you can take the capsule off and put other capsules on it. And what I put on it, in this case, was a Michael Joly engineering capsule made for the Rode NT5. And this capsule, it's the same microphone body, but with a different capsule. And this was a little bit of a trick, so I hope you'll forgive me for that, but it makes a point. It does definitely sound different to me than microphone A. And I've had my eye on Michael Joly Engineering's products for quite a while. He does modifications to existing mics for the most part. He doesn't build new mics. He actually just modifies existing mics. And he's come to know over time a variety of different mics and how to make them. Kind of his goal is to make them sound more like Neumann microphones, which are these very expensive German-made microphones, which have been around for many, many, many years. So I've, kind of what he pitches this as is it has a response that's more similar to those Neumann mics. It has less sibilance, so it's not as bright on the top end typically. And that's kind of what I was aiming for here. Again, my voice is very sibilant, so there just is still plenty of sibilance here, but I do find that even for extraordinarily sibilant voices like mine, it works okay. You may have to do a little de-essing in post, but not a ton. Now, this one is a little bit noisier than some of the others. I think there were some comments that, hey, microphone B is the cleanest in terms of self-noise, and I think that is true. I agree with that. But I don't find that the noise on any of these was so bad that it was unusable. I think really if you just apply a low-cut filter, that it would be fine. That's also the same thing as a high-pass filter, just in case you're wondering, and depending on the software you're using. Now, this is not the cheapest option. If of the four here, this was the second most expensive option, or the third least expensive option, depending on how you're looking at it. About $375 for the Rode NT5 and the modified mic from Michael Joly Engineering. So you can do the math there in terms of which piece is which, but we've got links down below for each of them. The nice thing about this is that if you do go this route, you'll have two options. You'll have the original stock capsule that came with the Rode NT5, and you'll have this modified capsule as well. So it gives you a few more options when you're dealing with different talent to get a mic that really kind of works best for that particular talent's voice. Now, one question that'll come up is, well, can't you just EQ it in post and take care of a lot of those issues? They're like this extraordinarily sibilant sounding mics. And the answer is, yeah, of course you can. But a lot of us don't have a ton of time to be fine tuning to the nth degree every little clip that we capture. So it is nice to have a mic that doesn't require as much work in post. And that's really kind of the idea here. When I bought this, is I was hoping to get something that would give me another option for people with sibilant voices that I might not even have to do any extra work in post. So there you have it. Again, not scientific, but maybe just an opportunity to expose you to a variety of new mics that you haven't heard before, to kind of give you some ideas to work with when you're deciding which mic may work best for the types of projects you're doing. So if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that. We'll be sure to get you more great videos on how to improve your lighting and sound for video. Talk with you soon.